Welcome back to Sic'Em 365 Radio. Our weekly segment with Baylor Director of Athletics, Mack Rhoades, is brought to you by Edward Jones Investments Brokers, Tom Albers, Brad Wilson, Ben Erlinson, and Cam Heathcott. Edward Jones, making sense of investing.
Here we go. David Smoke, Craig Smoke, Paul Catalina, 365 Sports, joined by Baylor's Director of Athletics, Mack Rhoades, on most every Tuesday here as we bring the fire and the heat with questions that he knows are coming to him. Thank you very much for your time. Glad you could be back with us again this week. I got a question. The Big 12 had this big marketing campaign up in New York City, the bright lights and all of what's up there. We know there's so much media and much more. That's kind of unique. Your thoughts about that event and how did it go?
Yeah, so I think, Coach, and you tell me if we're talking about the same thing, Smoke, because I could be confused. It wouldn't be the first time, but Coach Rhule and Bob Huggins, and I think that's what you're talking about, just in New York City, and really promoting men's basketball, Big 12, all of that, and
yep, that's it.
That actually starts tomorrow. And so just excited, that obviously Coach Drew's involved in it, and he'll be terrific. He'll be a great ambassador for the Big 12 for Big 12 basketball and certainly for Baylor University. And I think it's a great idea. We talked about doing something different with media days for both men's and women's basketball, and probably just didn't have enough time to do more than what we're doing this year. But to bring both of those to the media center of the United States, and to have them in front of all kinds of different outlets, and to just talk about the excitement of Big 12 basketball, and really to reiterate that we are the number one men's basketball conference in the country.
I would watch a buddy comedy movie from 1987 that starred Bob Huggins and Scott Drew as two guys with different personalities on a caper in New York City.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Like you could do a Netflix series of the conversation in the back seat of the cab with both of them. But they're actually friends and have got a really respectful relationship, and they'll certainly have a good time together, and I think they'll both do a great job in terms of, again, promoting the Big 12. So, two fairly different individuals.
Mack, obviously the break last week, or the open week there with football to kind of collect themselves and get ready for the game here in a couple of nights against West Virginia, which never easy to play in Morgantown, much less a team kind of with their backs against the wall. I guess both teams really. But Thursday nights is kind of funky. Does that alter the schedule all that much for you guys? Does it just kind of move things up? Is it a little crazier when there's a Thursday night game as opposed to a Saturday game? How does all that sort of work on your end?
Yeah, Craig, it's a great question, and you actually obviously move everything up and adjust your days, and so for example, Sunday was like a weekday for us, and how we handled the meeting schedule, the practice schedule, etc. So it will be I think a really tough game. I think any road game this year in the Big 12 is going to be quite a challenge. The parity in this conference this year is amazing. Craig, you talked about we've lost all 5 meetings in Morgantown. We haven't won there, so that's been a really, really tough place. Obviously in 2020, double overtime loss, and not that I really want to remember it, but coming back out of Morgantown is when we had, 30 plus student athletes with COVID, and we had to shut it down. So the last time we were there, to say the least, is certainly not great memories. And so, we're going to have to be sharp and ready to go and see if we can come out of there with our first win.
Mack Rhoades, Baylor's Director of Athletics, with us on 365 Sports. I know you don't need to divulge your meetings. You talk with Dave. You have discussions with Coach Aranda all of the time. It does seem as if one of his constant, I don't know if the word is frustrations, but one of the things that are going on as a team, it just seems like there's something missing. He's mentioned, in fact, immaturity or things like that along the way. How frustrated do you see him, or is he even someone that shows that?
I think, in meetings or conversations we have, particularly following the game, I think there's some frustration, but, with Coach, he's really, as we all know, even keel, and he's more analytical and what went well, what didn't go well. And, I go back to, keep pounding the rock. That's what this season feels like. The totality of the season, not just every moment. We haven't, quite, played a complete, full, great game yet. And, I feel like each game it's been something a little bit different. And I say that with all due respect. A lot of that obviously has to do with the opponent, and playing at a BYU and playing a very good Oklahoma State game. But, you think about the Oklahoma State game and special teams and not kicking it into the end zone. And that's something we've been doing all year long. And then, giving up the touchdown and the other long return. And so I think it's just, we just got to keep working and keep, pounding the rock. And, I think, we still have an opportunity to have a great year. And obviously, a really tough task ahead of us on Thursday, but we just got to keep chipping away, keep getting it after it. Our young players need to continue to grow up, and I think we're going to be fine. And I'm hopeful that this is a team that our best football is still ahead of us.
What's it like being an athletic director in a conference that is having a really good year, knowing that you want your team to do well, but not having that stress of, oh man, this is a great year for the league. Oh, great, it's a great year for the league. Meaning you don't get a week off of taking a breath and kind of relaxing a little bit.
Yeah, it's a balance, right? And, I think there's different lenses, right? People know we're negotiating our current TV contracts early with our current partners, ESPN and Fox. And so, I think from that lens, this has been really good in terms of the parity of the league and just how good it's been, up to this point in time. And so that's been positive, and you're happy about that. But I'd also say that, whoever we play, whoever's our opponent that particular day or night, I'm certainly not rooting for them. I want them maybe to not play as well, and we have something to do with that. And, making sure that, here at the end of the year that we've got an opportunity to compete for the conference championship again.
Matt Rhule yesterday in Carolina was fired by the owner, David Tepper. He gave you 3 years, helped during a very toxic and difficult time. and obviously then decided to leave. He had the itch, the NFL. He's gone. Dave Aranda now is here, and people love him and are appreciative of him. What do you think about Matt and that story once you heard maybe he was no longer at Carolina?
Well, Matt, has we remain friends. I would even say brothers. I love him. I love his family, Julie and the kids. And so, I hated it for him. Really, really did. And, the NFL is a different gig, and, I'm certainly not an expert on it, but, I think his time there is certainly not a reflection of how good a person and how good of a coach he is. He is a tremendous football coach, and if he wants, he'll be back in the college game. And I've had a crazy day, but I guarantee you there's stories today about possible landing spots in college football for Matt Rhule. And I hope our fan base is grateful for the job he did and the time that he spent here. I really believe this to this day. There's only one of maybe 3, maybe 4 coaches that could have come into the circumstances that Matt did, and turn around a culture, turn around a program. They're very, very few. Again, I can count them on one hand that could potentially have done that. And I was happy that he, as you said, an itch, but this dream of coaching in the NFL, and he got that opportunity. That was obviously bittersweet because of he did a great job here, and would have liked for him to stay a lot longer. But God has a funny way of working all of that out, and God had a plan, and Matt moves on, and we're blessed with another great head coach, and and so I can sit here and say proudly, I'm grateful that Dave Aranda is our head coach, and it's an honor and a privilege to go to work with him each and every day. And Matt will land on his feet, and he'll have opportunity. There's no doubt. And I love him and certainly wish him the very best.
One more question on that. If a college does contact you, and I can't imagine they wouldn't, would that be an emphatic positive yes on your opinion that they should go? Obviously, who knows about the itch that he'll always have again about the NFL, but that was probably the one negative if it look at it that way. But look at the money he got even now that he's he's out of a job. But would it be an emphatic yes, take him, he'll rebuild whatever you need?
Yeah, it would be. I would tell him that you're hiring the second best college football coach in the country to Dave Aranda. So, but absolutely, I would.
I got a question from Jeff. He listens and watches us, Mac, from Mexico City. He was discussing the playoffs that whenever that eventually starts, but he was discussing first-round games that might be in like early December after the conference championship games, whether there's a bye week or off week, whatever. How will that, or has anything even been brought up about how that might affect National Signing Day in December with games going on?
Yeah, that is a really insightful question, and it's one that I sit on the football oversight committee, and then I'm on a recruiting subcommittee, and so right now we're in the middle of really taking a hard look at the annual recruiting calendar for both FBS and FCS, and so it's top of mind in how we figure that out. I think it's too early. I think there's a lot of fluidity. I think there's conversation about moving. The champ came back and obviously the semifinals to accommodate the earlier rounds. there's conversations about moving up conference championship games by a week, and now week 0 becomes week 1. And until all of that stuff is settled, we'll have to figure out, we'll then figure out, what does the early signing period look like, and the transfer portal window that's, begins early December and runs through mid-January. So all of those things, I wish I had a definitive answer, but at this point we don't. They're on our mind. We're having conversation, but still too early to really make a determination.
You hired Nikki Collen for a lot of reasons, and last year they had a pretty successful year. The standard is so high. But a couple of weeks ago, we didn't have a chance to visit with you. She, when they started practice in early October, she was asked a question about Brittany Griner, and her answer was pretty amazing. What she said and what she meant, and also how she handled that. I know you heard that part. How much response did you get across the board about Nikki that day?
Yeah, tremendous. Tremendous from everybody. And some people, some of those folks, I actually talked to personally, and I said, that's just Nikki being Nikki. That's who she is. That was a reflection of the love and care that she has for her current student athletes, and the relationship that she has with them. And and that's not to say she pushes them, she challenges them to be great in everything, but she's got great love and compassion for people, and it's one of the reasons why the team last year, and I would expect nothing different, would and will and does run through a brick wall for her. And she believes in family, and she talked about Baylor's family, and those that have come before her are part of the family and will always be part of the family. And that's just her. And she those aren't just words for her. It's the way she lives her life, and it's the way she leads our program.
Mack, thank you very much. Good luck in Morgantown. Thanks for your time. We'll talk to you again next week.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. Take care.
Mack Rhoades, Director of Athletics at Baylor, with us on 365 Sports.
Really thought he was going to flame Matt Rhule and be like, no, I'm not going to nominate